So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just go through a few slides, and then from there we'll go ahead and put you'll come up and put your site up, so that questions that you have, we can see where you are and we can help you with that. Okay. So this is the founder of LinkedIn, and this is a startup quote. If you are not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you've launched too late. And so we have to be willing to launch. It's not a matter of getting it perfect, right? It's a matter of having the fortitude to put it out there. So, you're taking a picture of me.
Yeah, that's a good one. I got it.
All right. So we're going to go through just a few slides about the loop journey. Then there's three options. There might be more out there now, but this is where we are. And option one is the business to customer startup, B2C. Your customer is also a solo entrepreneur, or your customer will use your startup for a non-business reason. So, like Lavi, she does have a business to customer uh, uh, portion to what she's doing, but your customer is also a solo entrepreneur. So, they're either using your service for their own service, or is someone who's coming to your service because of your product. Both are coming to your service because of the product. And option two is business to business. This is business to small business startup. Your customer is the owner of a small business, right? And then option three is the enterprise startup. Your customer is the owner of a large enterprise company. Business to customer, business to business, enterprise. So this is the B2C loop map. And when you look at it, all three of them are going to look like this, but here we are building the landing page. This is the first thing that we're talking about doing, right? And then get your first 10 to 20 signups. So let's say between now and the next week, we're in week 4, week 6, you'll have your first 10 to 20 signups. Then we're going to do an app hack. Did you ever think that you're going to be doing an app hack? And so that's really what we're doing, is an app hack, right? So build your app hack for those that have signed up. So now this is when you're going to be doing the automating of your site, so that it takes into account the people that you're going to be servicing, or the businesses that you're going to be servicing. And then you're going to be evaluating your app hack and landing page as a solution for those customers. And then you're going to revise your app hack and landing page. And so we've seen Lavi go through these stages, right? This is what she's been talking about as she goes through these stages. Then you're going to get more customers. You're going to go from 20 to maybe 100, right? And then you get to a decision point. And Lavi's probably gotten there and pivoted, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times at least by now, right? So she's not really on her first version. She's not 1.0, she might be 1.3 right now. But you repeat steps 4 through 7 until you get 100 people or 100 signups and clarity on the features your users need, or you move on to the next process. So you want to get clarity, right? You want to, you want to make sure that the best of what you do is made available for your potential customers, your clients, to be able to want to invest their money and their time in, right? Especially their time on your site, then their money, your money. I went to Amazon today with the idea of getting one thing, and I left with 3. That's fascinating, right? How they do the suggested buys. I was like, oh yeah, well, it's not that I needed it, but well, I had the money, so I went ahead and got it, right? So the B2B is similar. And I just want to, this is a very basic, you come from point A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and, it's just, that's an iteration. When you go through these 7 steps, you iterate it one time. Because you're just going to be doing this over and over again, over and over again. Building, but here's the difference with a B2B. You build your landing page and get your first paying pilot customer, someone willing to collaborate, knowing they'll get a discount. Knowing they'll get a discount, right? So you'll be like, hey, look, I'm launching this, and it's going to be a service, a monthly service for $15,000. But because you're helping me with the iteration, I'll give you a discount, a 15% discount. Now you got your first paying customer. And you build your app hack for those that have signed up. Now, what's interesting about this to me is that, if you are paying a programmer to do this, you can pay them thousands of dollars to go through and get it to where you're ready to launch. But you're cutting out the middleman, and you're expediting this thing, saving yourself money, and doing what they do, using the existing platforms and technology and coding that's already out there. Ingenious. So, service those who have signed up, that want to evaluate your landing page as a solution for those customers. And think about this, we're still on the landing page portion of it, right? That's what you're using. That becomes your sketch. That becomes your storyboard. That becomes your prototype. And then you revise and you get more customers. You might get bold enough to sign up 3 more. So now, all of a sudden, you're making money. And you're refining your website, your web app, using this app hack. Using this app hack.
Is this what Tyler Reed started out with, strikingly, and then the B2C?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now here's the thing and I will do this at the end. I want to introduce you to what she does if you want to know more and to do more. But that's a heavier investment, right? Mm-hmm. But it attaches you to, you become a part of a community that allows you to be able to, to have those thought partners that you need as entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. You've got to get in the ecosystem. That's the thing. You've got to get into this tech ecosystem. Mm-hmm. It's amazing just here in Chicago how the tech ecosystem is just really burgeoning. It's there. Mm-hmm. And women in tech is just off the chain around here.
Is she from Chicago?
She's from Detroit.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
She's from Detroit, but in this region, there's just an exciting dynamic around what people are doing in tech. Very secular though. You go to an event, there's going to be some bottles being tossed and that kind of stuff. But some of the work that's being done is just amazing. Mm-hmm. And more than anything else, we're supposed to be in that space. Yeah. See, they know faith from the coding perspective. They have faith and belief in that line of code. Mm-hmm. And they say that line of code, I have faith in it. I'm gonna put all my time in it. I'm gonna debug that code to get it where it gives me the output that I want. It's no different from people of faith. If you believe in the word of God, you're going to meditate on that word day and night until you get all the bugs out of it. You're going to debug your faith in that word so you will get out of it what you put into it. Your faith's not working right, you got to go back and debug the word. You got to not debug your faith. So you can, I think about when I look at the Bible, it's like code. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I take that, I meditate that. That's just like, okay, I need to see how to manifest what that word is saying. So we have to take our model of faith into that space.
I'd like to learn to actually, I know this we're learning apps without code, but kind of to your point, what you were talking about earlier in class, I would also like to learn coding, just, as a part of what you're saying, getting into the space, even if I don't do it,
Well, absolutely.
Just getting in that,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as we move forward, there's a site that I'm a part of, and I just haven't really had time to really get into it. But you can sign up for a class on Python for $5. Yeah.
Oh, online classes, that's right.
Yeah, you can
Like
sign
Code
up,
Academy.
and they have sales, and you can sign up and just learn online.
Yeah.
I'm taking now a Cisco class for
Okay.
free,
Uh-huh.
and we'll talk a little bit more about that. That's on the networking side. So I can get certified to become a CCNA instructor. But I have that here for free here at the church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Cisco Networking Academy,
Okay.
and I can sign you up for that for free. But if you want to, give me a case of pop or something like that, I'll take that.
Can you go back to the one slide again, the B2C?
But here in the city, there's a group of young innovators, entrepreneurs, technologists. It's called Black Tech Mecca, and they do. I like them a lot, and I started with them volunteering, and just was one of the early voices, volunteers for them, and have stayed connected to the community.
Mm-hmm.
But their founder works for Google. Yeah, their founder works for Google, and when there are things that Google events, I go to them. Um, things that are happening in the city, I get stuff all the time. But that's, I mean, it's available.
Right.
It's out there. If you want to become a part of that, just let me know. Just let me know. I don't want to force it on anybody. And no, not everybody in there is a 30-something millennial. I'm there. There's more mature people there. But innovation doesn't have an age. I also have he moved actually to California and started a coder boot camp. And I don't know if he's going to start doing something online, but I really do believe he will be. He actually came here a couple of years ago, Gerald Duran, for the Missions and Marketplace Conference.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. And so he's got his Cana Global, and he's doing an entrepreneurial accelerator. And he's been talking about how the boomers are into coding now. Yeah. See, that's the trend, that boomers are into coding. And so Gerald and I, I consider him like a mentor in all of this. So I have access to him as well. Who else? Let's just say you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So the enterprise loop, same thing. Building a landing page. There's a guy that I met introduced to through the apps without code. He did apps without code, right? And he had a business model, an enterprise model that did something with inventory for businesses.
Oh, wow.
And an app without code, okay? He got an enterprise. He sold it to Coca-Cola.
Oh, wow.
He sold it to Coca-Cola for like whatever it was. It was he hit a, I mean, like six-figure kind of a deal
Oh, wow.
with Coke, with getting them as a customer.
Mhm.
Where they have a white button on his page. He has a white button on their page. So they click on that and it goes to his app hack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. I will say this too. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. The designing your screenshot or mock-up. So this is a whole different kind of a piece, right? Where you would actually, we're talking about pitching, right? So you would create a pitch deck like Airbnb did. And you would schedule your first two meetings with enterprises. So you schedule your meeting with Sara Lee, right? You schedule your meeting with Aetna, right? You schedule your meeting with Gerber, right? And you'd have that mock-up, and then you present your screenshots of your mock-up to your potential customer, to two potential customers. Quaker Oats. Is Quaker Oats still here? Yeah, Quaker Oats, yeah. Wow, I was just thinking, right? How great would that be for um, like uh, the Hilton, or I'm just thinking how they always have to lay their stuff out, right? But evaluate your screenshots and mock-up based on the feedback that you got from your customer, because now they're going to be paying for your development. They're going to be paying for your development. We love your idea. How much is it going to cost to get this thing going? Well, I'll need $100,000 just for the startup and infrastructure. Now you can bring in a programmer, right? And go to Nordstrom and get you a couple of power suits. Got to shop, got to pay yourself. You got to pay yourself. Got to look at it. You revise your screenshot in your mock-up. So you go to Aetna. We can do this and roll it out. It's great. How much it's going to take? 1.5 million.
So when you say enterprise, are you saying like those that have businesses that have chains or subsidiary kind of services, like there's maybe health insurance, life insurance, for Gerber, there's baby food,
Yes,
diapers,
definitely.
different.
Yeah. So an enterprise model would be for a big business
Okay.
that needs your service.
Who would be my co-collaborator?
They would be buying your service. They would be what does it say?
Using
They
your
would-
service to make theirs better.
Yeah. So they would become your investor.
Okay.
You're delivering a service, so they're going to invest in it. Wow, you can make that app do that?
Yeah.
We've been looking for this. Where have you been?
That's right.
It makes. Can't you see it?
Yeah.
I'm signing up. My enterprise would be a Fortune 500 company. They use me all the time for their new hires.
Yes.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
They're going out to power business lunches and dinners and black tie events, so they need to know how to behave in
That's
those
right.
environments. They need to know what utensils to use in those environments. So,
Especially
The
these
new hires.
millennials, I'm telling you,
yeah,
But yeah,
fresh out of college,
there you go.
Mhm.
Wow.
$1 million enterprise.
Multi-million-dollar enterprise. Let's see if Pastor Winston says you can be a millionaire in a month.
Mhm.
With this right here, you can be a millionaire in a month.
Mhm.
You know, that's what God, he was just, the Holy Spirit just really illuminated to me that, you know, $1 million, he was like, they're millionaires all around. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not a big thing
It's not a big thing.
Not a millionaire.
to write. And so I'm like, oh, multi-millionaire.
Multi-millions. You know,
Billionaire.
yeah.
Yeah.
The billionaire I think being a billionaire is attainable.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's attainable.
It is.
It to me it's kind of like when I was a younger man and I was a track and field athlete
Mhm.
and I was a high hurdler.
Yeah.
And when I started off, it took me almost 20 seconds to run 110 meters. And I'm stumbling and, and everything trying to get to the end. But then that was my first year. My second year, I'll never forget. It was my last race of my first year. All of a sudden it started coming together. And I ran my best race, but I lost, right?
Mhm.
And then I started to just learn how to win. I could win, right? It just became easy, second nature. And I don't know where I'm going with this. I did have a pathway. I saw. But once you start, it's kind of like that $1 million. Once you make the first million,
Mhm.
it's easy to make it. It's easier to make once you know how to make the million. That's what I wanted to say. Once I knew how to run
Mhm.
that race and win, it was easy to do it.
And I just think that if we think about all of the spiritual downloads that God has given us before in the past, that we didn't think was God, well, that I didn't think was God, I thought sometimes it's a crazy idea. Who's going to do that? Nobody's going to do that. It was $1 million idea.
Mhm.
It was a $1 million idea that I missed. Not anymore.
You know,
Not anymore.
not anymore.
It's there.
Yeah.
Not
But-
anymore.
But this will make you $1 million, right? In fact, each of you should be thinking on the level of the enterprise. It's
Oh,
you know
yeah.
you
Oh,
should
yeah.
if you're think about that's the telos, that's where you're headed. But some of you might already be at that stratum, right? You might be ready to try it. But that pitch deck, the business plan that you got, that's one piece of it. But the pitch deck, that's what you're going to take into these angel investors. That's what you're going to take into these people that are the decision makers that are that are signing checks. That's the one, go down to accounting and they'll take care of you, that kind of a piece.
So do you start out with business to business or business to consumer model to generate the sales that the investors would ask about in the enterprise pitch?
That's a great question. I think that what you're talking about, that run up to that, I think that to have that test case, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
I think that it might be good, but I'm thinking about just some of the stories that I've heard, where it wasn't so much so about them having the customers,
Mm-hmm.
but about revealing the need and showing how their product addresses that need.
Okay.
A good one is, I'm telling you, Airbnb, and we'll look at it, or you can look at it yourself, find it. but you know, they showed the issue, they showed the market. And what you're doing is really revealing the market, saying, wow, there is a market here, right? And here's the product to help you access this market, you know, where your company can generate this kind of revenue, you know, and how it's going to help you to elevate you know, the status of your company, the bottom line, and all those kinds of things. But we'll do that. I'll see if we can find it. Man, it's 8 o'clock already. Is it? Is it? Let me just go through this. We'll take a break, and maybe we can get out of here get out of here sooner. So you evaluate your screenshot, you revise your screenshot mockups, your decision point. Repeat steps 4 through 6 until you get a letter of intent and end user signups, and clarity on features your users need, or move on to the next process. So you're going to go to the customers. You're going to get it where it reflects, it addresses the needs that the customer is looking for. But you keep getting it right until you get your letter of intent and end user signups, and clarity on features your users need, or move on to the next process. So which of these options represent your startup idea? So your startup idea may be a two-sided marketplace. This means that you have two types of customers, and Uber is a good example, right? I think this is something that Lavi was talking about, because Uber needs drivers and they need riders. Both are their customers. The driver and the rider are their customers. And if you have a two-sided marketplace, pick the side you think will be most difficult to get signups on. Focus there, and do not focus on both for now.
That's really good for business to consumer or business to business.
And I always business to customer too, because that's my underlining thesis or thought for my business. I have two-sided market. It's for my employees and it's for my customers.
Okay.
Yeah, because my employees are the African American guys who are in like this round robin. They can't get a job because they have a background. They have a background because they can't get a job, and then they don't have the information. They don't have that employment history to put on the application, and then they have all these skills within them. So that's my two-sided market.
All right. So, are you someone who says, I want to build an app, but really mean I want to build a website?
Yes, that's me too.
So many people get confused about exactly what they're trying to build. So what is the difference between an app and a website? An app allows people to log into their own account with a username, with a name and password, and it has a database of information saved about the user. That's the big difference. So websites don't have logins, and they don't have tons of saved information about users. So you may decide to build a website first, then an app later. You may also decide you don't need an app at all. A website blog may be just fine for your project. And I think this is good, you know, when you're thinking about your business. How do you want to spend your time, you know, technologically? But understanding, you know, these kinds of differences, these nuances, I think this is all essential for the process, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
An app allows people to log in to their own account with a name and password. Websites don't have logins. They don't have tons of saved information about the users, right? So there's three types of apps. Web apps. These are sites that let you log in and save information to your account on your computer. And so when you open your laptop and go to Facebook, you're using a web app, right? So you might want to do that. And so even with what we're doing now, you know, you can have that kind of function. We just have to find the right tool to allow you to do that. So you can have a button so people can be, you can save that information, and as a user, they can log in and they have an account, right? And so we can do that. We just have to find the tool that you want to use to be able to do that. And there's a lot of tools out there. I didn't bring my list with me, I don't think, today. So a mobile web app, when you open Safari or your browser on your phone and type in Facebook, you're using a mobile web app. So it is the same site you visited on your laptop, but it is formatted for your phone. So we see that happening with Strikingly, right? We see that happening with Typeform, right? And then a native app. This is the app you see when you open the App Store. So when you go to Google Play or to, what is it, the Apple Store, you can see these are the kinds of native apps. This is the app you see when you open the App Store. So people would download your app. The Lord told me one time, and you upload your vision and you download your wealth. So there might be aspects. I think we talked about that with yours, and it would have that kind of a capacity that you would load it up to the App Store, right?
Right. And so it's the native, that's a mobile native app, right? Okay.
You upload your vision and
Download your wealth. What's that game, where they Angry Birds or something, and it kind of broke the bank with as a native app, right? Millions of users and billions of dollars.
So I have one question, and I think maybe, Bobby, this would be something that I'd be curious if you ran into as well. Were there ever web apps or just even business concepts similar to yours? When you were going through this process, did you find that, because to me it seems like it's a totally new idea, but I'm thinking, are there ideas out there? The Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. If you add like a little touch of something, then it's a whole entire new idea. So I was just wondering, did you run into any of that? Did you, as you were studying like your competitors and things like that?
When I first started with the vending machine concept, I did find other people with vending machines. As a matter of fact, as I was going through the process of going from just offering diapers only, God told me to Google baby diaper vending machines. And I was like, God, we've been down this road. I had to do the marketing plan and all that other stuff. This was once I had finished school. This was in August. I graduated in June.
Okay.
And when I did it, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I did see this, but when I saw it while I was in school, I was looking at it from a totally different perspective because I was focused on just doing diapers. But then he was like, Google that. And then when I Googled it, then I said, oh, so you want me to do not just diapers, but anything you put in the machine. In a diaper bag, put it in the machine. So what he basically was telling me, yeah, you've seen this, but you were looking at doing just one thing. I want to show you how you can take it further.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So now with the app, I haven't really been, I did a little bit recently to see if anybody else had an actual app, where you could do what I'm trying to do. And I went to YouTube because I find YouTube to be a good resource for just gaining knowledge and insight that other people may be doing or different thought patterns or whatever. And so I didn't see anything on YouTube. But we're in an age where everything is about technology. There's an app for how to look at your finger. Whatever you can think of, there's an app for. So at the end of the day, I know initially when I started the business with the vending machines, I was like, oh, somebody else might have it, freaking out. I'm gonna be too late. I'm gonna miss the boat. My mindset is not like that now with the app because I believe that God's timing is perfect. And he knew exactly when to tell me to set up the app. He didn't tell me back in 2010 to do an app.
that we weren't really like this in 2010. He knew now is the time. So why would I worry about whether or not somebody else is doing it? If they are doing it, I'm gonna be 10 times better. So
Absolutely.
what difference does it make?
That's true.
Whether they're doing it or not. And I got the
And then look
anointing
at
on it
Uber and
too.
Lyft. You know, right.
We gotta look at it like that.
All right. Go ahead.
Now I gotta tell myself that when I go home. And I'm sitting there like, oh God, I can't. Let me call one of my classmates, help me. I'm having a moment.
So here's a tip, right? You can eventually build all four of these things: a website, web app, mobile app, and a native app. But for now, you need to choose one to focus on.
Okay.
Remember Dr. K, that was my drama.
Yeah.
Oh, I was ready. I got to get out of here because this is not what I want. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking native. When
Mm.
God told me to create an app, my mind was native.
Uh-huh.
And then he's like, well, we're doing it. I'm like, no, we're not. That's what I was thinking to myself. But I went through the process.
Yeah.
And then it eventually made sense. You
Okay.
know? So,
Okay.
This is good.
yeah.
See, I can see in our next cohort, all of you being around the table. You know, I can see that.
Yeah.
And telling those, giving those testimonies.
And I'll give mine saying when I first started, I didn't even know what a web app was.
Okay. So
It's good, and I'll say this as we move forward. This is the kind of conversation that we need to have inside the church.
Absolutely.
It's the kind of language experience that needs to go on in the business school. It needs to go on just as in your groups, and to understand how to coalesce as thought partners,
Yes.
what you can bring into the conversation, answer questions, have the answers to the questions that your colleagues have, right? And not just the answers, but the solutions.
And then to create that, what Pastor Winston is saying, all of that innovation is supposed to be in the church.
It's supposed to.
Yeah.
Well, here it is. It's not supposed to be. It is
is.
already is
It
here.
is. We just need
It is.
opportunities like this
This.
to allow it to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I had to be back, because I'm not done, and I need you guys.
Mm.
I need
Yeah.
it. I need it, because when I'm at home, it's so easy to whatever,
Right, that's true.
But when you have light minds around you, it's inspiring and it
Amen.
motivates you, and you're gonna find as you guys go through this, you're gonna get on fire. There's just you think you're on fire now. You wait till after we continue on, and you really start seeing things evolve. And you go, oh God, I didn't know this was on here. And look at this, and it's gonna become so exciting. It really is.
Amen. And I'll say this. See, at some point, we won't be able to hold it in a class in the executive board room. We won't be able to.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is gonna explode.
Mm.
So many
It
people,
really is.
especially because of the way technology is now, it's right in front of you in terms of making an app or a web page or whatever. It's right in front of you. But you'd be surprised how so many people don't even realize they have that ability. They're still thinking, oh, I gotta pay somebody to do it.
Right.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I had my classmates lined up. I said, yeah, they're going to do this for me.
You can do it yourself. It's not like it was when we graduated in 2010. Because we were all in line hoping that our name would get drawn out of a bucket because they were going to have somebody, remember, to create websites for us. And my first website was created for me. I was very fortunate. I had a friend of a friend that did it for me. Real basic. Oh boy, I wish I took a picture of it. But, now we got this. Where you can add all this powerful stuff to it. If you wanted to, if you were into coding and created a website like they did back then to add all these links and so many different things, you know how much coding and information you have to make that happen? And now all you got to do is just, scan over something, copy and paste and boop, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
For me to create that cartoon, that animation, I mean, that was a website that I went to. It took me 8 hours to do it. 4 hours on Sunday, no, 4 hours Saturday night, 4 hours Sunday, and it was done. Creating the script, doing a voiceover,
Right.
the characters, all of that. Because once you start, I was up till 1 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't stop. I was like, I gotta finish this. I was calling my daughter, look, listen, like this.
So you said you learned it from a website, or you went?
I went on the website and I don't remember why I did it, but yeah. And I was like, okay, let me do this.
Well, that's really good. Yeah, that's one of the things that just catches you, because then people are like, oh yeah, I was just at the park yesterday and I forgot my diaper bag.
So let's move on a little bit. Here's something we all want. Monetization options. Want to monetize what we're doing, right? Right. So number one is like an Apple, right? High margin. It's not as sexy, doesn't require external, I forget what that is behind me. Forgive me. External funding. Shortest road to paying yourself. It's a goal to go niche, and can't charge low prices. Can't charge low prices. Low margin is sexy, right? And these are the words that they use. Requires external funding, long road to pay yourself, goal to get millions of customers, and you can charge low prices like Uber. And paid ads like Facebook requires external funding, long road to pay yourself. The goal, you need 100,000 users, and you don't charge your customers. So here's CEO and founder, CEO and co-founder. It says that we never thought of finding a place where we belong. Don't have to stand alone. We'll never let you fall. Don't need permission to decide what you believe. You got to learn something when we meet you after school. I said jump. I don't know what that is, but that makes sense to me now. So your lifestyle and your business model. Solopreneur. You work from home in your pajamas. You manage freelancers. In your job, you wear all the hats. That's high margins, right? Small biz CEO. You leave work early on Friday, manage 5 to 30 people. Your job is to manage and expertise. You have the expertise. It's high margin. Big biz CEO. Investor, board meetings, manage over 100 people. Your job is to manage and fundraise. Side project, moonlight at night, just you, co-founder job, you wear all the hats. So you can see these different things: high margin, low margin paid ads, high margin, low margin paid ads, high margin paid ads. So you can think in your mind and kind of locate some of the businesses, the tech startups, where they might be, or even think about who you are right now in relation to these kinds of business models that you have. And it's interesting with this, they talk about your lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle change does it require to get to where you want to be? I think I'm I think I'm a big biz CEO, but I do it as a side project, and so I think that, you can kind of probably locate yourselves, at least where you are as a startup and where you're headed.
So when it says high margin, low margin, it can go either way?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's it. So let's take a moment So Wilma, why don't you come up and put your site on, or pull it up so we can look at it. You ladies want to take a break?
I need to go to the restroom.
Okay, take a 10-minute.
It's after I started working on it some more today, it started looking, God told me, why don't you go look at other sites, people who have, I'm like, most other convenience stores don't have sites. But then he said, look at 7-Eleven. And so
I was just thinking about that.
so it's not beautiful anymore.
Oh.
My site. I'm like, oh yeah.